Well, Minneapolis teachers rallied outside district headquarters late this afternoon, saying they are not afraid to walk off the job. Within the last 24 hours, they voted to authorize a strike against the district after failing to reach a deal last week. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni joins us from our newsroom. And Mike, a strike authorization does not guarantee a strike, though.
No, and Kelsey, that's why they're going to meet again at the end of the week. The goal here is to hammer out a new contract in time for Halloween. Hundreds of teachers and other educators rallied outside district headquarters this afternoon. Teachers want higher wages, smaller class sizes, and caseload caps for special education staffers, among other things. They started talks about 7 months ago, but haven't reached an agreement on a new contract. Even though the district faces a $75 million budget shortfall, the union says the district can in fact pay for its demands if it prioritizes where to spend its money. We spoke with 2 educators, including the lead negotiator for teachers, about where things stand now and why it's important.
Well, we are absolutely hoping to avoid a strike. The last thing we want to do is interrupt our students' learning. So we are hoping that on Thursday, we know our team is ready to settle. We know what we want, and we are hoping the district will show up with ready as well.
I am lucky to have a husband that can also support me, but if I didn't, I don't know if I could make it on just my salary.
And the district sent us a statement today saying, quote, Minneapolis Public Schools understands that the Minneapolis Federation of Educators union members passed a strike vote. However, MFE, that's the union, has not yet filed an intent to strike. The district remains hopeful that a student-centered and fair agreement can be reached and looks forward to the next scheduled bargaining session on Thursday, October 30th, just 2 days from now. Both sides hope to reach an agreement at that meeting and avoid a strike. If they don't, though, the union will have to give the district at least 10 days notice before starting the strike. In the newsroom tonight, Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
All right, thank you, Mike. Well, after a year and a half of road construction, a major artery through South Minneapolis will reopen on Friday. The city spent more than $30 million to make Hennepin Avenue in Uptown safer and more accessible to everyone. Maury Glover shows us what the end of the project will mean for residents and businesses that call that neighborhood home.
We are the Hennepin construction crew with a good old stoplight, road closed, caution cone, and stop sign.
Halloween is still a few days away, but Jacques Champine and his family are already in costume to celebrate the reopening of Hennepin Avenue.
It's exciting for us from the sheer fact that we've had no access to our road, and we live on the street where some of the businesses have been kind of closing down as a result of it, and now it's exciting to see the life kind of come back to it.
Crews have been working on Hennepin Avenue in Uptown from Lake Street to Douglas Avenue since April of last year to add protected bike lanes, wider sidewalks, and new bus shelters. The road construction prompted some businesses like Pizza Shark to close and the Uptown Art Fair to relocate. But on Friday, the project is scheduled to wrap up and allow traffic once more.
Here's the almond milk Spy Girl. It's been lovely to see it all come together, and a project of this magnitude to see it done as efficiently and come together and be finished on time, which by all accounts I believe it is wonderful.
While not specific to the reconstruction project, the city of Minneapolis says 36 businesses along Hennepin Avenue between Franklin and West 36th Street have received grants from the city's Business Technical Assistance Program over the last 2 years. But the owner of Autopia Auto Repair says the project caused his business to drop 60%, and the reopening may be too little, too late.
So it'll bring the traffic flow through, but again, most of the damage is done. There's generally a lot of people still don't know it's open, are going to open. They might still try to avoid the area.
Champine says the reconstruction may have played a trick on the neighborhood, but now that it's winding down, he hopes Uptown is in for a treat.
So we've have had everything from our house shake and walls crack from the construction to just being able to keep the kids up. So now that it's finally done, we get to thank everybody and say, all right, great job. Get out of here. Let's go back to business.
Once Hennepin Avenue reopens, neighborhood groups and business associations in the area will be working to publicize that fact in hopes of bringing people back to Uptown in time for the holidays. In Minneapolis, Maury Glover, Fox 9.
Those were incredible costumes, too. Wishing those businesses the best of luck now. Now, to Jamaica. Right now, mandatory evacuations are underway in Cuba as Hurricane Melissa barrels toward it. This is after making landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5 storm this afternoon. That is the strongest hurricane to ever hit Jamaica. Already at least 7 deaths have been reported, along with collapsed structures, fallen trees, flooding, and even landslides. Chief Meteorologist Ian Leonard has been tracking the storm's trek from back here at home. And so let's bring him into this conversation now with a look at where Melissa is headed.
You know, the biggest question I had today, and it's rather wild. Most folks are comparing this storm and saying, how does it compare to something like Katrina? Well, this will go down in the record books as the most powerful landfalling storm in the Atlantic Basin. Winds at landfall 185 miles per hour. Internal pressure somewhere between 888 and 892 millibars. This was a monster that came ashore here near Black River and Bull Savannah and worked across Montego Bay, working over to Discovery Bay as a Cat 5. Now, that means areas like Kingston had most of the inundation all the way along the south shore here with the storm surge, 13 feet above normal tide. But now the storm has reemerged over warm water eye replacement cycle. It is currently a Category 3, expected to become a Category 4 here into parts of eastern Cuba. So I'll give you a better idea here and go to an enhanced satellite with the wind flow. With the enhanced satellite, there's the eye forming once again and the intensity beginning to pick up. Where does it go from here? Eastern Cuba, that's the Bahamas chain, all through the Bahamas, and eventually all the way northeast. That little dot you see right there, that's Bermuda. So there's still plenty of life in this storm, plenty of very warm water. Water temperatures to the south of Kingston were almost 3 degrees above average for this part of October. So there's still an awful lot of fuel down there. And of course, the light of day is going to show what I would imagine is catastrophic land-altering damage in parts of Jamaica. For us, it's all about a clearing sky, cooler temperatures, and of course, a look ahead at Halloween. We'll do that here in about 10 minutes.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, really hard to think about the aftermath right now, and there is a lot of impact in that track. All right, thanks, Ian. Much more on Hurricane Melissa coming up. In the meantime, you can monitor it live on our website, fox9.com. Well, threats have more than doubled at the state capitol in the last year, and this year an assassin shot 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses, killing Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark. The State Patrol reports 50 threats to people working at the Capitol in a little bit less than 10 months. That is on pace to triple the 19 reported in 2024. As a result, Minnesota Capitol Security plans to add a threats investigator and 20 more officers to their ranks by the end of the year.
There have been 13 that have been put forth for criminal charges based on those threats that have come through. And several.
Well, the Capitol Security Committee will recommend changes, but they will need to have bipartisan support. Minnesota is one of only 16 states allowing guns in Capitol buildings. A live look at Washington, D.C., where America is another day closer to tying or surpassing the record for the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. That was 35 days, and ours is now at 28 days. The impacts continue to grow graver as a result. Today, for example, the nation's air traffic controllers missed their first paycheck. As a result, they staged a one-day blitz at airports across the country, including MSP. There are more than 10,000 air traffic controllers nationwide and more than 400 in Minnesota. They say that they are working mandatory overtime already, many of them on 6-day work weeks. So they handed out leaflets asking travelers to send messages to lawmakers.
Yeah, we're definitely pawns in the system, and we just believe that we deserve to be paid for the work that we're doing, and we shouldn't be used in the middle. I mean, we can see it what's happening.
Flight delays have crept up across the country in the past few days, in part because of a rise in controller absences. The government shutdown also means Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP funds, will be suspended on November 1st. To stop that, Minnesota has joined at least 25 other states in suing the federal government.
Food pantries, churches, and nonprofits do great work, but they cannot scale up to meet the need of 600,000 kids who will not have enough to eat starting next week. This is the deliberate precipitation of a major hunger crisis. It's unlawful, and we're going to do everything we can to fight it.
SNAP provides food assistance to more than 41 million low-income Americans, among them more than 440,000 Minnesotans. New details about the layoffs at Target tonight. Nearly 530 layoffs will hit offices in Minneapolis. 290 layoffs are from the Brooklyn Park site. In addition, 800 open positions have also been cut. The layoffs go into effect January 3rd. The company says these layoffs will not impact in-store workers. And shipping giant UPS has reduced its workforce by 48,000 employees since last year. The cuts were revealed after UPS released earnings showing its profit declined in the summer quarter. Still, UPS is upbeat about the holiday quarter, saying it is well positioned to handle the demand. Still ahead tonight, a semi carrying a bridge hits another bridge. We're going to have that wild scene shutting down traffic in Spring Lake Park. Plus, St. Paul residents are being encouraged to vote yes on 2 ballot questions on November 4th. So we'll take a look at what those are. And Halloween is almost here. How the Vikings are helping to ensure that kids in the hospital can still celebrate.